Hello, today you're going to be learning how to write an appropriate paragraph for English class. To teach you how to do this, I am using the expression off to the races because the expression means when you are off to the races, you are on your way. RACES, RACES, is an acronym and mnemonic for paragraphs. An acronym means that the word itself, while it stands for different things, but put together means races. Okay, it's a word. A mnemonic is a word that you can remember so that you can remember the steps. Sort of like I think it's pendamis in math. Okay, so here we go. Restate means that you read that prompt, you read that question, and then you have to write a topic sentence that every paragraph needs. And that topic sentence is going to explain what you are going to write about. Next, you need to answer that prompt, the question the teacher gives you. You need to answer that question. Be sure to look for directive words like who, what, where, why, or how, as it often changes your answer. In the paragraph, you also need to provide evidence. It can be a quote, a paraphrase, or summarized learning from a passage, story, or article. It can also be your take on the story, article, or passage. The longest part of a paragraph is your explanation of support. You need to explain how your evidence supports your answer. You need to explain what the citation means. You also need to be able to say, hey, why? Finally, you need to add implications. What is that author really trying to say? What is that author hinting at? And then you can add any conclusions you make about the author's point. Now, after you explain your support, you're not finished. Every paragraph must have a conclusion. And in the acronym RACES, that stands for sum it up. You have to summarize your paragraph with one sentence that kind of relates to that answer that you gave up here. Now I'm going to provide you with an example from a short story called Swimming Upstream. We will read that next quarter. The prompt you're going to have for this story is, does the way Anna May handle watching the salmon swim upstream show that she can bounce back and adapt, or does it seem like in the end she is struggling to cope? So you'll notice this prompt gives you two ways you can answer this question. You can answer whether or not she's bouncing back and adapting, or you can answer whether she is struggling. I chose bouncing back and adapting. Okay, so again, I need to have my topic sentence, my restatement of the question as a topic. So I went ahead and put something that sounds like bouncing back and adapting. Let's see what I wrote. When going through life, there are ups and downs. People must survive both the good and the bad while continuing to succeed. So you must survive the good and the bad. You must bounce back. So this is just a restatement. It's nice and general. It tells the reader, hey, this is the direction I'm going in. But I still haven't answered the question of whether or not her watching the salmon showed that she can bounce back and adapt. So I need to answer that. That is next. Anna May is at her lowest point. The way the author shows Anna May watching and rooting for the struggling salmon to swim upstream when she is at her lowest point, ready to drink again and ready to give up, shows that Anna May realizes she can make it too, no matter how hard it becomes. Okay, so let me show you this connection real quick. Again, we're trying to make sure that the readers know that, hey, She bounced back and adapted. And where did she get this from? She got it from watching the struggling salmon swim upstream. Okay? She got it at her lowest point. It seems right here that she is a drinker and she might drink again, but she's on the verge. She's down at the bottom. Has she bounced back? Well, because she watched the salmon, she realized that she can make it too. Hey, if that salmon can make it, I can make it. Okay? So that is the answer to the question. The next thing I need to do is prove to my reader that, hey, I read that story. Here's the proof from the story that makes my answer make sense. Anna May verbalized or spoke out loud the desire for the salmon to survive and to make it through the rushing water. In the text, it states, she rocked, she shouted, make it, damn it, make it. And Torn Fin waded to the dam. Okay, so I went ahead and cited exactly how we knew that she wanted that salmon to survive, and that provides the reader with some evidence. I also added my own take on here. I said Anna May verbalized or spoke out loud the desire for the salmon to survive. I did that to set up the quote. The next and longest part of my paragraph is trying to explain how this citation really talks about the answer. So I'm going to tell you, this evidence supports my answer because it shows she is rooting for the fish to make it. After the fish makes it, she gets up and goes home knowing she can survive. She can make it too. She leaves her bottle of wine and drives home to her future, hearing the water in her ears. The author uses the fish swimming upstream against the water to show that Anna May can make it too, even if she has to work hard. Anna May shows resilience and growth using this mindset. So this entire explanation is to prove to my reader that this quote answers the question and supports it. But I can't end there. I have to end with a conclusion sentence, a sum it up sentence. So that is, the salmon's struggle to swim reminds Anna May that even through life struggles can sometimes seem unsurmountable or overwhelming. If she keeps going, she can make it through the tough times and survive. Phew! I finally have a full paragraph that I have made sure answers my part of the prompt. But where do I go from here? I can't leave it in these little boxes. I can't turn in paragraphs that are in some type of graphic organizer. I have to do something with them. So what do I do? Well, I am going to copy and paste just my answers. So I'm going to select those answers, okay? And I'm going to right-click and click copy, or I can even push Control-C. I am going to open a Word document, and I am going to paste what I have here with the right-click, not Control-V. Control-V will leave the boxes, and you don't want that. So what you want to do is right-click and click on Paste Text Only, or Keep Text Only, or even just the A. By doing that, you will get rid of the boxes, and you will have just your writing. Notice, though, that it leaves a space in between each sentence. It really doesn't look like a paragraph. It kind of looks like 5 paragraphs, but it's not. So we need to put it together. Once you have it on Word, you can do all the editing you want. We're going to start by moving these sentences together to make it look like a paragraph. So we're going to say Anna is going to be moved up. You're going to push delete or backspace until it is close to the period on succeed. Then you're going to take the Anna may verbalize. You're going to take your evidence and you're going to put it next to becomes and so forth. Evidence supports all the way next to the citation, branch 7. And you'll do that until it becomes an actual paragraph. And it's going to look like this. Isn't that beautiful? You have everything there. But again, it is not complete. You have all the writing done, so the hard part is done. But what do you need to do? Well, the first thing you need to do is go up to the home button on the Word tabs up top. You are going to go to the font area underneath the home button and click or write TI, and the words Times New Roman should come up, and you'll push enter. Then you will go right next door to the right of it and you will type in 12 for size 12 and click tab. That is going to change all of this writing into Times New Roman size 12. Here we go. After you have it in Times New Roman size 12, you still need to edit it. You need to look for any blue line or red line that is in the text. I went ahead here and I highlighted in yellow all the changes that needed to be made. The first thing you're going to change are the red and blue, but you can also change anything else that you think is hindering the meaning of your paragraph. Okay. To change all the red and blue lines in Word, you need to go to the word review. Click on that and then find the blue fountain pen with the word editor underneath, or maybe you'll find ABC with a check mark. You're going to click on that and it will tell you what suggestion they have for any changes in spelling or any changes in grammar. Okay. Besides the changes in grammar and the changes in spelling, I went ahead and took out the 2 words here that are useless. You don't need them, that and that. So right now it reads, I'm just going to do part of the sentence here. Ready to give up shows that Anna May realizes that she can make it no matter how hard it becomes. Sounds good, but it sounds so much more powerful when you take out the unnecessary words. So, ready to give up shows Anna May realizes she can make it too, no matter how hard it becomes. You don't need the that's, and sometimes we tend to add them even though we don't need them. So I went ahead and took them out. Then the word verbalized is spelled wrong. So it sounds like an S to me sometimes when I say it, but it's actually a Z, and I'll show you that next. I also changed the periods here. There only needs to be one, and the period always goes outside the citation. Okay? I also took out this evidence supports my answer because it shows. Now, I realize that what you're doing here, or what I was doing, was telling the reader, hey, look at me, look at my evidence, this is what it does. But you don't need to tell the reader, hey, look at me, this is what it does. You just need to say what you need to say. So by taking this out, you leave the part that is important. She is rooting for a fish to make it. Okay? And that's what Anna May is doing. You don't need to say the rest. The author or the readers know that already. They read what you wrote. Okay? So you don't need to necessarily put it on blast for them. Okay? Again, I changed this period here. I left it outside the citation. Notice here that I have has to highlighted. I did that because the grammar checker said, hey, there's a better word you can use, a stronger word. So I might put that in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Notice here I left the yellow so you can see where the changes are. Ready to give up shows Anime realizes, so I took out the that's. I changed verbalize to a Z because that's how you spell it. I took out the periods here and put it right here. I also capitalized this S because that becomes the beginning of that sentence. And then I went ahead and did the rest of it. I want to point out here that the quote was, hear the water in her ears. But it didn't flow with my paragraph. So I went ahead and made it flow by changing the ending of the word. Anytime you change the endings of words or add words to quotes, you have to put them in brackets. The only time you do that is when you do want it to flow. Okay? So I also took the period out here and I changed has to work hard to must work hard, a much more forceful word. Finally, I took it all and I copied and pasted it. Look how beautiful it is. The grammar is perfect. Everything that I want on here is perfect. Now, is it a perfect paragraph? Maybe not. There are always changes writers can make. However, I feel pretty proud of it that I went through and made sure that it had the RACES, that it had my quotes, that everything was as good as I could make it. The only thing I can do now is add a title. And that title should directly connect to that prompt. And since the prompt kind of asked about whether or not she was bouncing back or if she was struggling, I called it Anime's decision. Okay, so I finally have a Word document that is almost near perfect. The only thing you need to do next is double space it. So if you look here, it is double spaced. Okay, so I highlighted the whole thing and I went to the up and down blue arrow in the paragraph section of the bar and I clicked 2.0. And that is all I have to do. My paragraph is ready for my teacher to look at and grade. Thank you very much for watching this video.